New World Order, you underestimated the people. You took a gamble and you lost.
Okay, we don't like this. Okay, well then we're going to do this. And that is just how it's going to be.
Evidence brought to light that there is a corrupt officer, or that officer did shoot that kid on purpose.
I don't care how I look, I don't care how I sound, I don't care what the beat is. I just care the message gets across.
What's up, everyone? This is the Tin Man with the Resistance.
And I'm Lucid.
And this is your weekly report. Lucid wants to do something a little bit different this month.
Yeah,
He's got an idea.
I want to still stay on the political aspect of things, and I want to continue doing that. But for the month of October, I think we should do something kind of fun, something a little unorthodox that we haven't done before. I think we should do myth, legends, and fairy tales and folklore based on Halloween or just basic bullshit. And do some research behind it, see if there's any truth to these things. Usually these things stem off of truths, and then over time through the telephone game, truths get stretched. I mean, you've all seen the movie Braveheart, where they start talking about, fucking William Wallace and how his legend grows over time, and how it started off that he killed 50 men, and then it ended up that he killed thousands of men with his bare hands, reading a book, riding a bicycle backwards, standing on his head. So, I mean, all these folklores and legends stem off of some kinds of truth. But we're gonna do like one or two maybe political things in the beginning of our debates, and then we're gonna stem off. And if you guys have any ideas about things you want us to research regarding folklore and legends, comment in the section below, and we'll look those up, and we'll research those for you.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start with some of the political shit. You said you have something interesting on Obama and Trump going head-to-head.
Yeah.
Let's hear that.
Well, I know that Trump and Obama had some kind of grievance with each other for a long time now. They used to play golf together and various different things, and there was like a little friendly competition thing going on between them, but there's also some little
animosity?
Yeah, animosity between them. Obama criticizes Trump and other candidates ahead of GOP debate. There's a picture of Obama here. This is from Time.com. A picture of Obama here giving a speech at a town hall style meeting in North High School on September 14, 2015 in Des Moines, Iowa. Basically, the title of this article says, "America is great right now." President Obama criticized Republican presidential candidates ahead of a Wednesday night debate, arguing that they are talking down America with gloomy takes on the economy and other issues.
It is gloomy because of him and Bush.
Right.
We're headed into a New World Order dictatorship.
And he's going to defend his position no matter what happens, no matter what anybody says. So, of course...
Well, what the fuck does he have anything to say as far as the GOP candidates are concerned? He can't run a third term. So fuck him. He can't run. He has no business even sticking his nose in this shit. He should be focused on doing his fucking job.
The thing of it is that he's wanting to leave his mark on history, as all presidents do. And
he's already done that as the
worst president ever in the history of presidencies. No, I get that. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to make his bad things seem like they're better than what people are seeing.
Oh yeah, Benghazi was such a great thing, Obama. You did such a wonderful job with that, you fucking cocksucker.
Anyway, it goes on to say, in a speech before the Business Roundtable, Obama noted that energy prices and healthcare costs have gone down since he took office, while the stock market and consumer confidence have gone up. First off, healthcare costs are not down, they're up because of Obamacare, and energy prices are not down, they're up as well. I remember last year or year before last, my electric bill being, between $100 and $150, and now we have electric bills upwards of $300 a month. And that proves it.
Let's see. Here. Energy costs are down. I say bullshit. I'm calling bullshit.
Now he goes on to say, this is a quote he said, now you wouldn't know any of this if you were listening to the folks who are seeking office that I occupy, President Obama said, in the echo chamber that the presidential politics, everything is dark and everything is terrible. They don't seem to offer many...
It is dark and terrible.
He goes on to say they don't seem to offer any solutions for the problems that they perceive, but they're quick to tell you who to blame. Obama did not name any of the presidential candidates, but his remarks did seem pointed at Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, who has adopted "Make America Great Again" as his campaign slogan.
Trump has offered solutions. As far as the immigration problem, build a really big wall between the border of America and Mexico. That sounds like a solution to me.
And he's also
taxing the rich for shipping their resources
overseas.
Overseas, fucking outsourcing their products to be shipped into America. That sounds like a solution to me.
Amongst other things. And then he goes on to say, despite the perennial doom and gloom that I guess is inevitably a part of presidential campaign, America is winning right now, he said, tapping a podium for emphasis. America is great right now.
Oh yeah, that's why we're, $18 trillion in debt, which is a higher deficit than when Bush left office?
Double the deficit as far as I am aware. It's like double.
Yeah, we're estimated to be, $20 trillion in debt by the time Obama leaves term? Yeah, we're in a great place, Obama. Great job, buddy.
Yeah, and then he's talking about bringing over 10,000 Syrian immigrants as well to the United States to help, them or whatever. You know what? Take care of home, jackass.
Yeah.
Help our veterans, help our elderly and our homeless. Take care of home.
Helping everybody else.
Yeah.
Fucking screw it off the American people. Fuck you.
Yeah, quit taking your fucking, $1 million fucking golf trips and vacations with your family and start using that money for something that means something. Obama was not entirely down on the Republican candidates. He also noted that two leading Republican candidates have proposed eliminating the carried interest loophole, which allows hedge fund managers and others to pay a lower income tax rate than that imposed on ordinary income. Obama didn't name them, but the candidates are Trump and former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. Obama's criticism of Trump came one day after Vice President Joe Biden called the real estate mogul's immigration stance a sick message that absolutely denigrated the entire group of people.
Obama, just keep your fucking nose out of shit it doesn't belong in.
And keep your fucking mouth shut. Every time it opens, you spill sickness out of it. Just stop, dude. You're out of office in several months, and there's nothing more that you need to do to make our fucking world a worse place.
Yeah, here's a fucking urban legend for you. That Obama may be the Antichrist. Sorry, you know what? Nobody shot that motherfucker in the head yet. The Antichrist, or the Beast, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, was supposed to have a wound in its head that would magically be healed. You know what? I've yet to see him suffer from a gunshot wound, or getting stabbed in the fucking head, or any of that shit. So, I don't personally think that Obama is the Antichrist, but then again, we do have a few more months left of his presidency.
Yeah, I personally don't.
There's your urban legend shit for you.
Yeah, exactly. There's some urban legend shit for you, exactly. We have the expression. We're going to move on now. I mean, everybody has their opinions about what's going on right now. We've already covered the GOP debates as far as candidacy speeches are concerned. We've already covered all the bad shit that we do not like about Obama, and we're not going to reiterate any of that. He's almost out of office, thank God.
Well, here's another urban legend for you, and this kind of goes with news and everything. The fucking college shootings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Guess who fucking popped up there again? that infamous lady, whatever the fuck her name is, that was at the Sandy Hook shooting, the fucking Boston bombing. This bitch is fucking everywhere. How many times has she been killed or wounded, and yet she keeps popping up? There's an urban legend for you. Is this bitch like fucking Bigfoot or something? Every time there's a fucking tragedy, she's there in fucking tears, or she's fucked up and shit. Like, how many times? Oh, seriously, either this is a false flag, or this bitch has the worst luck in the fucking world.
Exactly.
It's like, I can't go anywhere in the world without getting my shit fucked up. I'm even dead, and yet I'm still here getting fucked up.
Exactly.
Yeah, didn't she die in the Boston Marathon bombing?
Supposedly.
And then was allegedly injured at Sandy Hook? Okay. Zombie bitch with the worst fucking luck in the world can't stay out of fucking trouble. There's your fucking headline, people. It's not a false flag. This bitch is a zombie with the worst fucking luck on the planet. And I'm not angry.
It's just funny.
It's hilarious.
It begs to ask the question, how are they fucking us this time? Watching this hand while this one, diddles your doodad.
You know, I'm surprised she wasn't the reporter that got shot by
yeah, exactly.
By that black guy with white hands.
Exactly, by that black guy. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking when you started saying that Sandy Hook thing and the Boston bombing, dude.
I'm surprised she wasn't the news anchor that got shot.
Right.
I'm honestly surprised. I mean, seriously. Put this bitch in everything. She's like the poster child of tragedy.
In fact, we're going to look up a picture of that bitch, and I'm going to make a meme of that and circulate it around Facebook.
Yeah, the poster child of tragedy.
You're going to help me with that when we get done with this, dude. We'll go in there and fuck around with that. But anyway.
You think maybe she put her cell phone in the microwave and injected herself with bleach to cure Ebola?
Probably. She's probably one of those people. But moving on now. I mean, it's just ridiculous, people. I mean... Well, haven't you woken up enough yet to know that when something goes down that's as big as like the Boston Massacre or the Sandy Hook incident or Benghazi or the email incident with Hillary or anything like that, that Obama is doing something behind your back so that you're paying attention to something else so he can do something like initiate another gun bill or a fucking what do they call those things that he is able to sign? Executive action, regarding the legal killings and shootings of Americans overseas on foreign territory, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we can get into that one in a minute, but before I jump into that one, I saw a meme last night on Facebook. It says, how many tragedies and false flag operations do I have to orchestrate before you let me take your guns?
Exactly.
Like, seriously. We know what's up.
Exactly.
Come on, we're not that stupid.
And not only that, it makes us...
Some people are stupid, but the majority aren't. They're on to the bullshit.
And not just that.
If it looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck!
It's a quackhead.
It's a quackhead. Obama's a fucking quackhead.
Anyway, the whole thing behind these false flags and these shootings and
in my pocket.
This whole false flag things and all this shit with the shootings and all that, the massacres, just makes Americans want to procure firearms even more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes the people who are now terrified to live without self-defense want to buy self-defense.
Yeah, and we sure as fuck can't count on the cops.
Right.
It's like, if I call the cops, they're gonna shoot me.
Exactly. If I call a senator, they're gonna send the fucking military to shoot me.
Yeah.
If I call the fire department, they're gonna let me die of, not resuscitating me or whatever.
Yeah. They perform CPR with an axe.
Exactly.
It's like, what the fuck?
With a fucking ceremonial dagger.
Here's one. Fucking Putin is going after ISIS. And now the Obama administration is saying, hey, we gotta fund ISIS to protect them from Putin.
What are you doing?
Fixing this so it's a fucking rattle.
It got dark.
Did it?
Just for a second, it adjusted.
There you go. Like, seriously though. Fucking Putin wants to go after ISIS.
Who doesn't want to go after ISIS? And if
obviously not the Obama administration. He wants to fund them and give them more aid so that
I was just going to say the people
from Putin.
The people that want to go after ISIS are just going to be going after the American people. So there's that catch-22. It's going to start a war.
Yeah.
But
Fixed it!
anyway, moving on from the political aspect of things, going to get into our myths and legends here.
Well, before we do that, why don't we go ahead and take a break, because we're already 14 minutes into this shit, so we'll take a break, let Mr. Eagles do his thing. I think he's out looking for Bigfoot or something. All my dicks.
Don't stop. I got the beats to make you rock and make the girls' panties drop. So what you got? Crotch and flop.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hello, YouTube Universe. This is good old MS Revan. Are you looking for daily, unbiased political videos? Come check out my channel at youtube.com/GrandmasterRevan, or you can find me in the featured activist section on the Worldwide Resistant Networks channel at youtube.com/Resistance2058. Remember, knowledge is free.
I want to talk a little bit about how America is becoming a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah in some aspects. We are losing our morals and ethics in the United States. If you tune into the History Channel, they got Larry the Cable Guy telling penis and fart jokes to Cub Scouts. If you tune into Discovery Channel, they're teaching your children how we originated from aquatic mermaids. I didn't tune in to Fox News to hear about Kim Kardashian's ass cheek implants. There is a Beavis and Butthead mentality going about in this country, and it's contagious.
What's up, everybody? I'm gonna look for Bigfoot. I don't. Let's look for Bigfoot. Cups. And more cups. I'm not thirsty. Let's check over here. Nope. He'd be very cold if he was in there. Oh, hi, Daddy. You can call me Daddy. I'm hungry. Let's check up here again. Oh shit! Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Is he over here? Hey, come back here! Where's he at? Where's he at? Ah! No! 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 Oh!
No! Yeah. Oh, fuck. You alright, dog?
Don't throw up on my carpet.
You mean your dirty ass rug that's out here? Oh man, that was fucking gross.
It was gross. That only Mr. Eagles would come up with something like that. Creepy ass bastard.
Anyway, myths and legends.
Yes, moving on. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for almost making me spill my lunch. Anyway, oh god, Alright, basically we're going over some myths, legends, fairy tales, stuff like that. We're just going to touch on a couple of them today.
What do you got?
Have you ever heard the expression, an apple a day keeps the doctor away?
Yeah,
Well,
who came up with that?
Yeah, we're going to go into that right now.
Does that work for applesauce? Or like apple juice? Yeah, drink apple juice. OJ will kill you.
Well, the way that I heard it when I was a kid, it just made sense to eat healthy. You know, like it was a saying that, you know, reiterated the fact that we should eat healthy, fruits, vegetables, stuff like that.
Okay.
So that we don't have health problems or obesity, stuff like that. But it actually was born in a frontier town in the early years of the gold rush, where food was scarce and money was even scarcer. When a bad drought had struck the region, a series of bloody killings swept through the town. Every night, a single house would be broken into, and anyone who saw the invader would be swiftly, brutally slain. Nothing was ever stolen save for a few scraps of food. After 2 weeks of this, the local grocer set out a few apples and a glass of milk in the town square overnight. He then hid in the tower of the church, hoping to catch a glimpse of anyone who came by. Fighting fatigue, the grocer waited for any sign of life below. Just after midnight, he was rewarded by a chilling sight. A man carrying a black bag stuffed with dully shining metals, tools covered from head to toe, and cloth bandages staggered into view. He paused at the sight of the apples and milk, whipped his head around as if looking for the one dared to patronize him. Seized with fear, the grocer ducked out of sight, staying hidden until sunrise. The strange man had only taken one of the apples and didn't even touch the glass of milk. No houses were broken into and no one was killed. For decades, the town continued to place an apple or two out every night, even long after a single apple stopped disappearing. This was taken from a clipping allegedly from an 18th century newspaper. Basically, you know, stopping the killings and stuff like that because the dude was hungry, you know, he was desperate and killing people for food. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, meaning like you won't get injured and have to be sent to the doctor if you put out an apple every day at nighttime.
Okay.
So that's where that originated from, and that's like the truth of it all, the history portion of it all.
Okay.
We also have, I'm going to save the scary portion of this segment for the last thing. So,
Okay.
there's another thing circulating on social media sites right now saying that ibuprofen extends life by up to 10 years. It's an over-the-counter drug that increases lifespan in yeast, nematodes, worms, and fruit flies, as study shows.
Okay.
So basically, according to the fact that it extends life in yeast, nematodes, and fruit flies, they're saying that it could possibly give us, you know, an extension of years as well. It hasn't really been put to the test for the most part, but it's just speculated at this point. Aspirin and the anti-diabetes drug metformin are already known to increase longevity in worms and mice. Now researchers can add ibuprofen to that list, known to suppress inflammation and reduce the risk of age-related neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Ibuprofen has long been suspected to influence aging. So Texas A&M University biochemist Michael Polymenis and his colleagues tested the drug on yeast and found that yeast lived 17% longer, while the lifespans of the flies and worms increased by about 10%. The results were published in last week, December 18th, in PLOS Genetics. They convincingly show that ibuprofen prolongs lifespan in these model organisms. Molecular biologist Ellen Nolan of the University of Groningen in the Netherlands told Science. Although it's unclear how ibuprofen affects lifespan, Polymenis told ABC News that it may have something to do with the drug's interference with the cell's ability to absorb the amino acid tryptophan. There are open questions, for example, is it the low tryptophan amounts inside the cells that extend lifespan, perhaps akin to dietary restriction? Ibuprofen's life-threatening or life-lengthening effect may also be attributed to its anti-inflammatory effects, but yeast and nematodes don't suffer from inflammation. some anti-inflammatory drugs that people are taking may have beneficial effects that are unrelated to inflammation. So, basically they're saying...
And when was this article published?
Let's see. This was actually last year in December.
Okay.
2014. It's just actually coming to surface right now. I haven't heard of it. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or whatever, but
This is the first for me.
Yeah, first for me as well. I figured it would be something interesting to kind of do a quick little read up on.
Pardon me for doubting the pharmaceutical company's claims.
Right. Well, we all know your standpoint on big pharma and all that shit.
Probably the reason why I'm still single. There's a fucking urban legend for you. Why is Chris still single? Why? Because aside from dealing with batshit crazy chicks, Nicole,
I'm gonna
I can't find myself a decent woman who shares the same ideologies as me.
I'm gonna kind of briefly touch on this next one. I'm not gonna go over the entire story because it is a very long article depicting various details of the truth behind this. But you've all seen the movie The Conjuring.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. It's a movie that came out in 2013.
Annabelle.
Yeah, it's about a doll called Annabelle. Okay. I figured since it is a Halloween month, we could do something scary. Or creepy, rather, not scary, because I'm not scared about it. It's in another state somewhere, in a box, in a room, locked up somewhere, so it can't fuck with anybody. But anyway, this article goes into great detail about how The Conjuring is about the evil possessed doll Annabelle, who makes up the cornerstone of Ed and Lorraine Warren's spooky museum of trophies. And then the story starts by Donna got Annabelle from her mother in 1970. Mom bought the used doll at a hobby store. Donna was a college student at the time and living with a roommate named Angie. At first, neither thought the doll was anything special, but over time they noticed Annabelle seemed to move on her own. At first, it was really subtle and just changes in positions, the kinds of things that would be written off as the doll just being jostled. But the movement increased. Within a few weeks, it seemed to become fully mobile. The girls would leave the apartment with Annabelle on Donna's bed and return to find it on the couch. Their friend Lou hated the doll. He thought that there was something deeply wrong with it, something evil. But the girls were modern women and didn't believe that sort of thing. Donna began to find pieces of parchment and paper in the house with messages written on it like "Help us," or stuff like "Help Lou," just to make the whole thing that much creepier. Nobody in the house had parchment paper. Where the hell was it coming from? The escalation continued. Donna returned home to find Annabelle in her bed with blood on her hands. The blood or some sort of red liquid seemed to be coming from the doll itself. That was enough. They decided to hire a medium. The medium came in and told them that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins had been found dead in that field, right next to their apartment complex. Her spirit remained, and when the doll came into the house, the girl latched onto it. She found Donna and Angie to be trustworthy. She just wanted to stay with them. She wanted to be safe with them. Being sweet, nurturing types, they were both nursing students. Donna and Angie agreed to let Annabelle stay with them, and that's when hell broke loose. Lou started having bad dreams where Annabelle was in his bed, climbing up his leg as he lay frozen, sliding up to his chest and neck, closing her stuffed hands around his throat, choking him out. He would wake up terrified, head pounding like all the blood had been cut off to his brain, and he was freaking out. He was worried about the girls. A few days later, he and Angie were hanging out planning a road trip when they heard someone moving around in Donna's room. They froze. Was it a break-in? Was there an intruder in the apartment? Lou crept over to the door, listening to the rustling within. He threw open the door and everything was as it should be, except Annabelle was off the bed sitting in the corner. Which is creepy as fuck in my opinion. And my grandma used to have fucking Raggedy Ann dolls and stuff like that. And that's exactly what this is, just a normal Raggedy Ann doll. It's nothing special, it was just a doll from a hand-me-down store. Let's see. As he approached the doll, Lou was consumed with that feeling, a burning on the back of the neck that indicates someone was staring at you, and he spun around. Nobody was there. The room was empty, and then sudden pain on his chest. He looked in his shirt and saw a series of raking claw marks, rough ditches in the flesh that burned. He knew Annabelle had done it. The weird claw marks began healing almost immediately. They were totally gone in 2 days. They were like no wounds of any kind he had ever seen before. They knew they needed more help, and they turned to Episcopalian priests who in turn called in Ed and Lorraine Warren. There's a picture of Annabelle with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Picture of Annabelle in her box. It says, warning, positively do not open. Let's see if you guys could see this on here. I don't know if you guys could see that at all.
Looks fairly clear.
But basically it got worse and worse. The priest came in. I'm just going to kind of go over this briefly. The priest came in, did a blessing on the house and the doll, and things got attached to the priest and the wife of the priest, and they started having problems at their home. They sprinkled the doll with holy water, and the disturbances stopped for a minute. Annabelle was back to her old tricks, started appearing in different rooms in the Warren home. They called in a Catholic priest to exorcise Annabelle. The priest didn't take it seriously, telling Annabelle, "You're just a doll, you can't hurt anyone." Big mistake on his way home. The priest's brakes failed and his car was totaled in a horrible accident. He did survive, though. Eventually, the Warrens built a locked case for Annabelle, and she resides there to this day. The locked case seems to have kept the doll from moving around, but it seems like whatever terrible entity is attached to it is still there, waiting, biding its time, ready for the day when it can be free again.
Lovely.
And that's all I have for myths, legends, fairy tales, truths behind all that.
Yeah, you don't fuck with supernatural shit, man.
Oh, tell them the story about the Ouija board, and let's tell them the story about our house and what happened in our house just recently, before we had the missionaries come over and bless it.
Okay. Well, we'll go on to the Ouija board thing. That was funny as hell. Myself and Jose were out canvassing, and we stopped in this park out in Palmdale. Actually, it wasn't Palmdale, it was Lancaster. Same area, but we're out in Lancaster canvassing. We stop in this park. I'm having a cigarette. Jose goes spelunking around, and he finds a fucking Ouija board in a trash can. I shit you not. A fucking Ouija board.
Well, obviously there was something wrong with it, considering it was in a fucking trash can at a park in the middle of nowhere somewhere.
Yeah. Well, Jose gets all fucking excited about it. So we call up Jonathan, our supervisor. He comes rolling up like 5 minutes later. We show what's up as he's rolling up. He fucking speeds off in the van down the street, dude. He's like, and we go up to him. He's like, "That thing is not coming in the van. It's not coming in the van." He takes the Ouija board, kicks it across the fucking field. And we're just having a good laugh. We're laughing our asses off. We're having a good old time. Jose goes back out canvassing. I stay behind to destroy the Ouija board. I put it in a freaking barbecue pit, try to light it on fire. The damn thing would not light.
And we have footage of it too. Do you still have it on your phone?
Yeah,
maybe we can try to put it in the video.
Yeah.
Or as a separate video in the description or something. Yeah. You guys can watch it.
I'm trying to burn this thing, and it's in the fire pit. It's a little windy out, so the wind's catching on the mic of my camera. But this thing's enclosed in the little little barbecue pit, so the wind can't hit it. But yet, the flame is being repelled. It's not being blown out, it's being repelled.
I saw on the video that you had there too, that the flame was actually touching the Ouija board at one point in time, and it just would not catch. No smoke was coming out of it. It didn't char up. You know how when you light something on fire, sometimes there's a little black residue that gets left over. It's called carbon.
It would not burn.
Yeah, there was no carbon left over residue, nothing like that, so it just would not burn at all.
Yeah. So I took the Ouija board out, broke it into several pieces, broke the little dial, plastic thing, and chopped up the fucking board itself into several different pieces, and then threw it in the trash. I wanted to make sure that nobody could ever use that fucking thing again.
Now, we're talking about the game by, like, Parker Brothers or whatever manufacturer made it, Mattel or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't an old-fashioned Ouija board.
Yeah, it was kind of a newer one. the square board game.
The,
that
the
you buy
one
in the
that
store.
people are accustomed to.
Right. Because I myself, back in the day when I was young, stupid, and dumb, actually was into, mystical shit like that and trying to get in touch with the other side, stuff like that. I actually had found a way to make a Ouija board, an authentic one, and those are made out of wood, high quality wood actually, rosewood or cherry or oak or something super strong, hard, repellent to flame, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're made out of wood. Their circles are about that big around. They have
About the size of a pizza, a small pizza.
Yeah, like a frozen pizza you get at the store.
Yeah.
And they're pretty thick. They're like a coffee table thick. And at least the one I made was like that. And then you etch into it the letters and you paint it and you make it nice and whatever. And you fuck with it. And that's an actual authentic Ouija board right there. It's the one you make, not the ones you buy at the stores.
Okay.
I had made one, and then finally it started getting really weird and scary for me. And I decided to stop doing that kind of shit, and then ended up trying to burn that myself. Well, I stuck it in my fireplace where a roaring blaze was at. It did light on fire and it did catch, but it just would not destroy. It would not ever completely destroy. So I took it out back and I chopped it up in a bunch of little pieces. The only way you really can destroy something like that is to chop it up in a billion pieces. I stuck it in a plastic bag and I buried it in a field somewhere. In fact, surprisingly enough, it's actually up here in the high desert somewhere. I forget exactly what field I buried it in, but it was close by where I used to live.
You and I always seem to wind up having weird supernatural experiences.
Yeah. And these are things that actually really have happened to us. In fact, we've had some kind of entity or something, and I know you guys are going to be like, oh, fucking entities and this and that, whatever. Well, it really fucking happened to me, so
yeah, we won't
fuck you, I don't give a shit what you believe in, it fucking happened to me.
Yeah, we won't go into the details of what happened bottom line, but...
No, I am going into a little bit of the details to let them know exactly what happened here at the house. Because it happened to my kid.
Yeah.
End all be all, we ended up having a blessing done on the house from a couple people from Chris's church came over and did a blessing on our house, and things have subsided. I haven't had any kind of uneasy feelings in the house at all. But
well, before we go into that, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the experiences that we've had in this house since given the supernatural aspect of things.
That's what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Basically, what has happened is we moved in here a little under a year ago at the house that we're currently in, and it started off as just an uneasy feeling in the hallway back by my bedroom, and us as parents aren't going to say anything out loud in front of our kids to protect them from it or whatever.
Yeah, don't want to freak the kids out.
Right. And, so we kept having these uneasy feelings. We had these weird smells in the house, sulfur, perfumes, different kinds of colognes. Actually, I know that you're going to say, oh, well, it's you guys because you guys smoke, but we smoke out in the garage. It's completely on the opposite end of the house. But we've smelt smoke in my bathroom, in my room, in the hallway, in the front bathroom, which is also right in that hallway area. Even in my kids' room, we smell cigarette smoke, cigar smoke, various different types of scents back there. And just one thing led to another. My kids started getting scared on a daily basis, on a nightly basis. I mean, my son would wake up in the middle of the night banging on his door to be let out of his room because he was so scared, crying, bawling, screaming his head off in the middle of the night. It's scary in my room, Daddy. It's scary in my room. It scared the shit out of me. I didn't know what to think. So I said, it's not scary, just reassuring him. Everything's fine. Get up, give him something to drink, change his diaper, put him back to bed. And,
yeah, and he's only 2, so
yeah.
to have that kind of an eccentric imagination at that point is
is a little far
Genuinely
fetched.
unheard of.
Yeah, it's kind of far fetched. He
You know,
doesn't.
kids are a little older before they start freaking out, thinking there's monsters under their bedroom,
Right.
closet and shit.
Right. He doesn't even really understand the concept of monsters and shit like that right now. So, anyway, things progressed exponentially after that point. My daughter would wake up in the middle of the night. In fact, she, on several occasions, has asked to sleep in my room. She asked to sleep on my couch. In fact, she still sleeps on my couch because she doesn't like the feeling she's getting in the back bedroom. Only because she doesn't know that the house was blessed and all that.
Yeah.
One thing led to another, and we started hanging, religious symbols around the house, crosses and different things that were blessed. My wife has gotten a couple of things from her grandma that have been blessed by her pastor in Redlands that she has sent to us as gifts to put up in our room. We actually had a Bible at one point in time open to a specific page hanging on our wall in our room because of these happenings. And, things got better, a little bit better over the course of time, but then they started progressively getting worse again. Well, we just recently had a baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, before I get into that,
Going through your health aspects.
yeah, my health aspects. I have never had any problems health-wise in my entire life, ever. None. I mean, I'll get the occasional cold, the occasional flu. Very rarely, though. I mean, I was in the military. They ingest you with super vitamins and, all kinds of shit to help repel you from getting sick while you're in boot camp. And ever since then, I've been, fit as ever, healthy as an ox. Anyway, I started getting these weird anxiety attacks. I got really sick. I got a really bad upper respiratory infection. I had something called pharyngitis, which is just an inflammation of your tonsils swelling up like balloons, to the point to where I almost couldn't breathe. It was like I was being choked to death. In fact, if I hadn't have gone to the emergency room that night, I would have died. They injected me with some crazy antibiotics that killed the fuck out of my legs. They injected it right in my ass cheek, and it caused a burning sensation all the way down my legs and kind of up towards the back portion of my back, or the lower portion of my back, rather. And I came home, everything got better, my upper respiratory infection went away, pharyngitis went away within like 3 days. They gave me antibiotics, regimen of shit that I had to take prescribed to me.
Yeah.
After that, after all that shit went away and subsided, I started getting anxiety attacks. Really bad anxiety attacks. I didn't know what they were until I was actually diagnosed with anxiety at the ER because I didn't know what the hell they were. I got heart palpitations, really harsh cold sweats, tunnel vision, dizziness, the feeling that just very paranoid, feel like I'm going to die feeling. Can't explain it more than that. But I got diagnosed with anxiety at that point, and then I start getting these weird like body feelings, like I'm starting on the verge of getting like the flu or something like that every single day. Okay, I thought it was these new medications I was taking. I stopped taking all the medications, and I started feeling a little bit better, thinking, okay, well maybe that's the problem. Well, it just didn't completely subside. I mean, maybe they were a little bit of the issue, but it just didn't completely subside.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I'm doing a lot better, 100% better. I kind of get headaches every once in a while, but I don't have as many anxiety attacks. I am not having any heart palpitations, sweats, feelings of being sick. It even was to the point to where I was vomiting at night before I would go to bed. Whatever I ate that night too, and like I'm not allergic to any kind of foods except for mushrooms, and I really don't like the taste of them anyway, so I stay away from them. But it happens to be that these feelings are not going away, and I'm telling my wife, well, I need to get another doctor's appointment, find out what's going on, get blood work done, all this stuff.
And it just carried on.
Carried on and on. And then the other day, or a few weeks back, we had our newborn son. His name is Ezra. He's a little over 6 weeks right now. And progressively, since he's been born, it's been getting worse and worse. And I noticed that, babies kind of stare off into the distance sometimes. They're trying to focus on things and see things. But he continuously looked in the same spot every single time. I mean, he could see us now. He could see more than just shadows and shapes. He could see actual figures and animation in his eyes. I mean, he's old enough for that. And I'll be holding him, and I'll be sitting in the chair, and he'll be looking up, like, in the corner where there's nothing there, nothing. And he'll start smiling, or he'll get a sad face on his face, or something, and he'll just be staring off into the distance. I keep trying to put my head in his way, you know, like, hey, I'm over here. And, you know, I didn't think anything of it at first. And then he would just wake up in the middle of the night, just screaming his head off, like something had either hurt him, or he was sick, or hungry, or something really severe that he just wasn't liking. Well, it progressively got worse. My kids were still complaining about being scared in the back bedrooms, in the hallway. They wanted to sleep in my room almost every night. My son would wake up in the middle of the night and would stay up all night long. And then just a few days ago, before we got the house blessed, just this last week, right?
Yeah.
Just this last week, my wife was cooking dinner. I had set the baby down on this little mattress thing that we have. It's actually like a yoga mat or something like that. And then it folds into 3 pieces, and it's like a pad that you can sit on or whatever.
Yeah, we had him set up there, all nice and secure.
And you know, infants that are only 6 weeks old cannot roll over. They cannot move from their position. In fact, we had him sitting on his stomach, which you're not really supposed to do without supervising him, which my wife was cooking. My older daughter was there helping, watching him, and, you know, all that stuff. And he was sleeping, so he wasn't moving around at all. Well, I'm out in the garage. I'm talking to Tin Man here, and all of a sudden I hear a knock at the wall. I just figured my wife wants to tell me something. She does that shit all the time. So I take my time smoking my cigarette. I get up. I decide to go inside and see what's up. I tell her, "What's up, baby?" She says, Ezra was in between. Okay, there was a space about this big between the chair and where the fireplace hearth is on the fireplace, and his head was facing that way, right there. Okay, and he was drugged somehow from here to turned his body and was drugged in between the chair and the fireplace. Now, the way that the thing was set up, it was just physically impossible for him to have rolled over off the mat. Okay, first off, he's only 6 weeks old. He's not strong enough to do that. Second off, for him to completely turn his body to, you know, a 180 and then crawl or push himself back into a section of a place that is just physically impossible for him to get on his own was the last straw. Okay, he screamed his head off. I guess he fell off the mat. The mat was only about this thick, so he didn't fall very far. But somehow he got off the mat, fell, or whatever, and was drugged into this corner. And I just figured that was the last straw, and we ended up calling the missionaries over, actually the elders from your church, over to do a blessing on the house. And they came over, and we said a prayer in every room in the back hallway area where most of the activities taking place. We also said one in the living room. And ever since then, haven't had any issues. My son sleeps through the night for the most part, unless he's hungry or he's got a poopy diaper. My older son, he sleeps through the night completely, no problems. My daughter hasn't had an issue at all. She's been sleeping through the night in her room. And it's just kind of strange how all these things were happening and progressively getting worse. And we said a prayer or two with the elders, and all of a sudden, shit's gone.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's my story as far as my supernatural
Well,
shit.
I really haven't experienced too much in the house aside from weird dreams.
You were having reoccurring dreams, though. That's the thing about it. It wasn't just weird dreams. You were having, like, reoccurring dreams.
Well, I'm prone to night terrors anyway, so I try not to think too much of it. You know, but the dreams that I've been having are unlike the night terrors that I've been used to. So
Explain to them.
It was generally weird. Like one dream, I was in the bathroom, and this whatever is in the house, I guess, was trying to communicate to me, and it wanted me in its service. And I got this feeling that it was something conjured. It wasn't something that was just residual from, like, say, a death or anything like this. Like, this thing had actually been conjured and summoned here, and it stayed here. And it was pissed off, and it wanted me in its service, which would probably explain why I haven't had any supernatural phenomenon affecting me, which I found relatively interesting. And this was a few weeks ago that I had this dream, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what the fuck?
What was the dream that you had that there was something up in the rafters?
That was the
in my
dream.
room?
That wasn't in your room, it was in the bathroom. It was up in the rafters, and like it was communicating through the vent. Like it was up inside the rafters or something. Like that's where I fucking chilled out. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just like small spaces. I don't know.
I will tell you this much: every time I've gone to the bathroom in that bathroom, either somebody has to be in the living room or close by. I can't just go in that bathroom by myself. At least that's how it used to be. I'm fine now that the house has been blessed. But I've had crazy supernatural experiences in that bathroom myself. I always feel like something's looking at me or standing like literally inches behind me. I get chills and goosebumps every time I go in there. Not because I'm aware of the fact that there may possibly or not be an entity in the house, but because
just an uneasy feeling.
I get that feeling that something's watching me or standing right next to me or whatever. And, yeah, so, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've had stuff happen to me. I've just been more prone to it, open to it, whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
But, this was probably one of the more surreal experiences in my life with the baby, because the baby could not have possibly been moved. It was like something off of...
Yeah, I'm just glad the baby wasn't hurt or anything. It's like the baby was picked up and fucking put there.
Yeah, the baby was not hurt. There was no marks on the baby at all. The baby was scared to fucking death, though, because he screamed at the top of his lungs, could not catch his breath.
Yeah,
he was scared.
Yeah, it was like he was upset because
he was hurt.
Hurt or got disturbed out of his sleep.
Right.
He was legit scared.
He was scared, yeah.
I mean, you could see it in his eyes. And that was the final straw for me, especially because you don't fuck with kids, man. I mean, little kids, scaring them, you know.
It's all in good fun.
You can deal with that shit. Like, okay, the kids are scared. You can chop that up to, oh, they're just little kids with overactive imaginations. But when something like this happens, where your infant child who can't crawl or anything like that is fucking picked up and moved from one location to another,
I've had instances
that's
where...
crossing the line.
Where in the last place we lived, too. There was an uneasy feeling in the last place we lived, too. And,
over, wherever we did with you guys at.
Right, off of, Juniper?
Yeah.
Off of Juniper Street. We were packing up to move, and I had a Marilyn Monroe picture sitting on top of a cedar chest that we got.
Yeah, when the fucking picture fucking flew off the cedar chest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, I take it back. I have been privy to some supernatural experiences while I've been with you, but not in this house.
Right. But
but that was fucking crazy.
Yeah, we had just all came from the hallway and we were all sitting down on the couch and all of a sudden we hear this crash. And the hallway, granted, is not very big. I mean, literally, it's about 5 feet long.
Yeah.
And it just kind of leads like around the corner.
Yeah, all I'm doing is just coming down the hallway and I get a fucking Marilyn Monroe thrown at me. It's like, damn, bitch.
Yeah, and I thought he was the one that knocked it over. I'm like, hey, dude, you need to be careful with that. That was expensive, you know? And he's like, I didn't touch it. And further investigation led to us looking at the cedar chest. There was a bunch of stuff set up in front of the Marilyn Monroe picture, and then the Marilyn Monroe picture was behind it, and it was facing out. The picture had been picked up, turned over, and dropped. So, I mean, it couldn't have just tipped over on its own because it would have knocked all that other glass stuff that was in front of it over at the same time.
And
it would have been
right
like
there,
the domino effect.
It went whoop.
So
They just fucking flipped over that shit. I'm like, whoa!
yeah, so we've had kind of some real life shit happen to us too.
Well, I know that I've been having a lot of supernatural shit that's happened to me throughout my life. I don't remember a lot of my childhood because of the accident, but a few things that do stick with me, some of the more traumatic things, I do remember some supernatural shit. I remember when I was a little kid, I was sleeping in my room, and there's all these fucking ghosts and shit floating around. And I was up all night watching these things just floating around. And like when one would float close to me, like one time I reached out and touched it, and it just in a cloud of smoke. That was weird. That's one thing I do remember. And then another incident when my grandfather died. I had woken up for some weird reason, and I walked out the living room. I don't know why I fucking walked out the living room, but then the phone rang. When I picked up the phone, my aunt is on the phone, and she's telling me that Grandpa got hurt. He was in the hospital. But I didn't hear that. I heard, Grandpa's in the hospital, he's dead. And my aunt didn't say anything about him being dead or anything like that. And I wake up my mom, tell her, she fucking takes off to the hospital. Well, behold, he is dead. He, in fact, was dead. And my aunt never mentioned anything about him being dead. They didn't even know that he was dead at that point. They had just said that Grandpa was hurt. He was in the hospital. Tell your mom to get down here right away. And to this day, she'll stick to that story. But I swear to God that I heard her say, tell your mom to get down here to the hospital. Grandpa's in the hospital. He's dead. Crazy. Yeah. And that's one of the very few things that I can actually remember. I remember next to nothing about my childhood prior to being 11 years old. I only remember a few little tidbits, maybe a few flashes of images here and there, and stuff like that I can remember. But other than that, I can't remember shit.
I remember almost everything up till I was about 2 or 3, like right around that time.
Yeah, but I find it very interesting that profound things like that were retained. I found that very interesting, that despite having that accident that nearly took my life, and I still say that I did die that day, my near-death experience, but to be able to recollect that, aside from other traumatic experiences in my youth and a few occasional images, that I actually remember that to a T.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
That's crazy. Fucking crazy shit. And the thing about it is, like, there's going to be skeptics out there that say, like, this shit ain't real, blah, 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 whatever. But I'll tell you what, I've experienced it, and I'll tell you straight to your face that shit's real. Shit is real.
Well,
there is another plane of existence, whether you want to call it heaven, purgatory, something. There is another plane of existence that spirits or demonic entities or intelligent something or other is there that is influencing the physical plane that we are on.
Yeah, and there's been science done on this. I mean, we have technology that shows us that there's something out of the ordinary going on, like increasing static, rises and falls in temperature.
Right.
When something's out of place, so there's obviously some truth to this shit.
Right.
And I choose to look at science and spirituality and shit like that, everything beyond the veil of this world, as perhaps being a science that we have not yet reached. Because, think about it. Fucking Elijah was taken up in a chariot of fire. I mean, by today's standards, you could chop that up to like an alien abduction.
Or a rocket. Or he was an astronaut. Or something, you know what I mean? A chariot of fire, a rocket. Think about it. It's a chariot that has fire coming out of it.
Yeah, they could describe shit like that back in ancient times because they didn't have the technology that we have. They didn't have things like generator lighters or cars or shit like that, so they described it as best they could. And chopped it up to spirituality, but in all actuality, it could just be a science that we haven't reached yet.
Right.
Especially at that point in time. They didn't have the scientific community, they didn't have all these breakthroughs.
They had
in
people
development.
who thought outside the box, but they burned them at the stake as witches
Yeah.
or demonic
heretics.
Yeah, heretics. Yeah.
There. I mean, so it's a very distinct possibility that what we know as spiritual is nothing more than
Science.
a science that we don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, this entire world that we live in could be based and formed from a science that we do not yet understand.
Right.
I mean, creating Adam from the dust.
Maybe at some point in time.
That sounds like borderline alchemy to me. Genetic cloning.
Right.
You know, you take a cell or a cellular sample from the earth and use it to clone a human being.
Right. I mean, we've discussed too, and since we're on the topic of science and mythology and folklore and stuff like that, we were talking to Wolf about the particle accelerator on the roundtable discussion last time.
Interdimensional.
Yeah, interdimensional time shifts and pictures and things that we have actually come to not fully understand, but new things. You know what I mean? Things that we are starting to understand.
It's very interesting to explore the possibilities that what we could see as spiritual may, in fact, just be interdimensional or even just part of the science that we do not understand.
Right.
There's so much in this world that we don't understand and is currently beyond our comprehension. And it may be that, as human beings, we are incapable of understanding this level of scientific sophistication.
I know I'm going to catch shit from this, from the religious populace for this one, dude. But what if God is a science we just don't understand at this particular point in time? And I know that's how sacrilegious that sounds, but I mean, I had to entertain the idea just because we're on that subject. You know what I mean?
Well, it's possible. Or he's just a higher evolved being than us, you know, perhaps. You know, like the LDS believe, he is a being that started out as a spirit, came to Earth, got a physical body, and then evolved into what he is today. You know, it's just taking the next stage of evolution. Fucking caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly. And right now we're in the cocoon stage, and the butterfly is what happens after the final resurrection and everything that's depicted in the Bible.
Right. If that's how you want to believe.
Yeah, I mean, there's infinite possibilities. I choose not to exclude the possibility of anything because you don't fucking know. Nobody.
There's one thing that I can rule out, and this is coming from the scientific community. They say we evolved from single-cell organisms into this, you know, tadpole-looking thing, into a creature that's on all fours, into an upright walking creature, into a human, and the creature that walks on all fours, that uses all fours, is supposed to be this gorilla or this ape or this chimpanzee.
Lucy.
Yeah. Well, if that's the fucking case, how come there's still apes and chimpanzees running around? If we've evolved from that, how come there's still those that exist?
It's fair and simple. One doesn't have anything to do with the other. There's just other species that had died off. Even species that were close to being considered humanoid that had died off. And perhaps that's where God created Adam from. You know, fucking...
Well, it said from the dust of the earth, not from...
Yeah, well, where do you find the bones and all the remains of ancient creatures? Christians teach that the world is 4,000 to 6,000 years old.
No.
But yet science says that
65 million years.
It's over 65 billion years ago that the dinosaurs died off. So the world is... Yeah. I thought it was 65 billion. But nevertheless, science dictates that the world is billions of years old.
Right.
So who's to say that however many thousands of years ago, God took the DNA from one of these humanoid creatures that died off and created man.
Right.
He got it from the earth. I mean,
yeah, that's if you entertain the science of energy is transformed into different forms of energy, and that's where God got the particle from. But what the Bible, in my opinion, what the Bible is saying is that God created Adam out of nothing. He just created him. You know what I mean?
Mudman.
Mudman.
It is Mudman! With the power to be mud. Yeah, but seriously, like, you've got the remains of ancient life, such as dinosaurs, humanoid-based species, and, you know, we have their skeletal remains, and everything else gets turned into oil, and we use that as fossil fuels. So, who's to say that you can't take something out of that, take a cell from that primordial soup, if that's what you want to call it, and create life from it?
Yeah,
or, even like the dinosaurs, like Jurassic Park. Fucking a remain of something like tree sap. Extract the DNA from an insect that had fed off of something millions of years ago and recreate that life form. Like they did in Jurassic Park.
That is a possibility, but at the same time, too, I mean, we know that humans did not roam the earth 65 billion years ago. Dinosaurs did, so...
Yeah. But,
I mean, that
who's to
logic
say
is
a
out the window.
mosquito didn't bite one of Lucy's ancestors, God digs it up, and goes, takes the DNA out of that sumbitch, modifies it, and creates human beings.
Yeah, but now you're getting into like a completely different religion other than Christianity or even your religion, Mormonism. I mean, you're looking at Scientology now. You're looking at the...
Well, I don't even know what Scientology teaches. I really don't give a shit.
It's the science of God, not...
Well, it said that he created man from the earth. Okay, does that mean that he took some earth and said, man? Or did he take something from the earth,
create a single-cell organism and let it
create life? You know, it's a matter of interpretation.
And a matter of God's timing is not our timing, and you know, a day could be 65 billion years in God's eyes. You know what I mean? But if that's the case, you gotta take into consideration. If that's the case, that God created man in a day, and you take that day being 65, you take 65 billion years being a day in God's time. That means every day in God's time is 65 billion years. So we're like on what, day 2? You know what I mean?
Well, it took 6 days to create everything, and then on the 7th day God rested.
Right.
So he's been busting his ass for millions of years, and then finally took a day off. So we don't know how long a day is for God compared to
our understanding of time.
I mean, people base it on their precepts of time. It's like, oh, he created the earth and the heavens and everything in 6 days, as according to our understanding of the calendar and how time works.
Right.
But it could have been eons.
Right. And that's our interpretation too about how we got that revelation from God upon that, and like our interpretation of time, like you say, we consider a day being from sunrise to sunrise. That's a 24-hour period.
Yeah. And we obviously don't have. It just goes to show that we as human beings are so limited in our understanding of how things actually work.
Right.
Even just from a biblical religious standpoint.
Right.
So if it is in fact on the plane of science.
Okay, but since we're on the subject of myths, legends, fairy tales, and stuff like that, what truth can you offer that supports these facts? Do you have any factual data that supports these facts? Because I mean, that's kind of
there is no fact in this. It's just simply speculation on my part, and I will admit that it's speculation.
No, what I'm trying to get at is where I'm trying to stay on subject here, that we have like these factual things about the articles that I read, Annabelle, the apple a day, the ibuprofen extending your life. There's actual fact behind this, and then we got off on this religious tangent about, you know what I mean? Is there any fact that we can offer these peeps on how?
Well, as
I mean, we know that Jesus was alive at one point in time. There's DNA record of it.
Yeah, as far as whether or not how God created man, I mean, you could chop that up to cloning. I mean, just in this century alone, we've done the cloning and all that fun shit, which 30, 40 years ago was a science beyond man's wildest dreams.
Right.
So, I mean, that is entirely possible. You could associate the two. Whether there's a definitive scientific link that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is how it happened, you can't exactly link that because we weren't there. We weren't in the Garden of Eden. We can't even find the fucking Garden of Eden.
Which leads us to the credence of parallel universes and our understanding of space and time and so on and so forth is not the same as God's, our limited understanding of things. Yeah. So, like you said, it's only theory and speculation.
Yeah, they said that they were kicked out and a cherubim was placed to guard the entrance or the gate.
Right. That we would never be allowed in again.
Who's to say it's like a fucking gate or something like Stargate.
Right.
Fucking...
Or a wormhole or a portal or some sort of teleportation device or something like that.
There's all kinds of infinite possibilities that you could explore. And that's where science really starts, is an idea.
Right.
You know, just proposing an idea, going, okay, what if this?
Exactly.
You know, I think if maybe people looked into this, you know, maybe they could find the answers. Then again, maybe they won't be able to find their answers.
I mean, we're on the right path right now with the particle accelerator, shit like that, the God particle, dark matter, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But as far as this goes, I think we're kind of running out of time here. We're an hour and 7 minutes in.
Yeah, so we'll kill it.
Yeah, let's kill it.
Yeah. Until next time, I'm the Tin Man.
And I'm Lucid.
If you have any thoughts or opinions, leave them in the comments.
Any stories or fairy tales you'd like to take consideration on for us to research about, please comment. And we'll see you next time.
If you're watching this, you're on this.
West Side bitch killed the life, Amy.